I realise that we're now like well and truly into 2017, but it's fine because really the new year is kind of arbitrary. And I think it's good to think about your goals kind of like a little bit into January, when you've started to like settle into them and evaluate whether there's something that's actually going to work for you. I'm going to start with the reading stuff because that feels like the most natural thing to start with. So I did 2 goals videos in 2016. I did one in January and I did one in June as sort of a mid-year check-in. So my reading goals in 2016, first of all, was I had the Goodreads challenge and I started with 50 books. That's what I set my goal as, and I completely surpassed that. I think I ended up reading 140 books, plus a lot of reading that I couldn't track. So I think I read 4 manuscripts for novels when I was working at a publisher's. And in 2016 I also read a lot of like poetry, but not in a poetry collection. So I was reading like isolated poems and dipping out of big anthologies. And then obviously a lot of reading for research as well. So when I realised through the year that 50 books was definitely going to be achievable, I upped it to 75 and then I upped it to 100. And then I just ended up leaving it at 100. So for 2017, I have set my Goodreads challenge at 100 books because I think that's achievable. I think 2 books a week. I don't want to push myself or force myself for the numbers. Another one of my resolutions was to read stuff that I wasn't normally reading. So I wanted to read more Shakespeare for pleasure. I wanted to read Jane Austen, and I really wanted to read more BAME authors, so Black and minority ethnic, I think. And I didn't do brilliantly at any of those goals. Shakespeare for pleasure, I only read 1 Shakespeare play in the whole of 2016. Reading some Jane Austen, I did do a solid start with. I read Pride and Prejudice and I read Northanger Abbey. So those are 2 goals that I want to carry on with in 2017. And kind of alongside that, I did do a video a while back about authors whose work I would like to complete, and I would kind of just like to keep trucking along with that in 2017. As for reading books by authors who aren't white, I didn't do a great job at that, unfortunately. I think 10% of the books that I read were written by people who were not white, which is really low and in no way reflects the society which we belong to and the planet we belong to. I think I got into this weird sort of mindset where I realized I was actually reading a lot more BAME authors than a lot of my peers. So the society that I'm VP of, we run a book club every single week, and each week a theme is picked for that book club, and everyone brings a book that they have enjoyed that is around that sort of theme, and you walk away with like 15 plus recommendations. And for Black History Month, we decided to do a Black Authors Week, and it was shocking how many people were kind of slightly taken aback by that and realised that they hadn't really read anything by people who weren't white. And that was kind of why we did it. It put me in this position where I thought, oh my god, I read like so much, when really I don't. So in like 2016, my goal was just kind of read more authors that weren't white, whereas this year I think I'm gonna think about it and plan it a lot more and think about what books I want to pick up and seek out authors. Same with writing by people who aren't straight. I really lulled myself into a place of security and thought that I read loads, when in reality, while the number of books I might be reading by authors who identify on some level on the LGBT plus spectrum, while I'm reading quite a lot of books, it's a low percentage of my reading. I also really wanted to find bisexual protagonists, and I think I managed to read 3 books that had bisexual protagonists in them. One of which I massively enjoyed, and that was Nina Is Not Okay by Shappi Khorsandi. Another one was The Big Lie by Julie Mayhew, and then Just Juliet by Charlotte Reagan, and I just didn't really like that book. I didn't think it was well written. So that was kind of a mixed bag. So I suppose in 2017, something I want to do is be a lot more consistent with tracking my reading. I want to track a bunch of things, like how many books I'm buying per month and how much money I'm spending on books, what sort of page counts the books that I'm reading are, how many books are from authors that I've read before and authors that are new to me. And something that I really want to track is who is publishing what I'm reading. Some other goals that I want to focus on is that every month I want to read at least 1 non-fiction book and 1 poetry collection. I read quite a few poetry collections in 2016, but as I said, I was reading a lot of isolated poetry as well. I wasn't reading collections cover to cover, and I definitely want to learn more about how poetry collections function as a whole. What makes something a functional and cohesive collection as opposed to just a group of poems. In my half-year check-in with my goals, I mentioned that I was going to start a couple of series on my channel. The first of those was a series on introductions to particular poets, and I did one episode of that on Caroline Duffy. I'll leave that link down below. And then I didn't do another one. I think it just became a bit too much to take on. Although that may be something that I'd like to keep hold of and do in the future. I really wanted to start vlogging as well. That didn't happen. I tried it for a month and I felt like I was being really dishonest with myself. And looking back on my life then, retrospectively, that makes total sense. It would have been interesting if I'd started vlogging then. I don't know if that's something I'm still interested in. I'm definitely interested in doing more like chatty videos. And the third series was Parenting Potter, which is something that I'm still really proud of. I'm not sure how many episodes I've done of it now, maybe 4, which is basically a series where I took a look at all the different parental relationships in the Harry Potter series. And I really, really enjoy making those videos. They just take a lot of effort. And initially I was doing one every 3 weeks and that worked really well. Since I've been back at uni, that just hasn't really worked. So I definitely want to continue with that series, but I don't want to put any pressure on myself to have the videos up at a particular day. Halfway through the year I went on an uploading schedule as well. I tried to upload on Wednesdays and Sundays and that worked really well for a bit. Then I changed to Mondays and Thursdays because it seemed to just be fitting with my schedule a little bit better. Now I'm completely off a schedule for filming and editing and uploading videos. I want to try upload twice a week, but what day of the particular week we're on doesn't really matter. One of my resolutions for 2017 is that I want to get back on top of reading advanced reader copies. I probably do request more books for review than I can feasibly read, and I do have quite a substantial backlog of books that I haven't read. I do feel a huge amount of guilt having not read them, and that's not something I want to feel going into a book. I want my reading to feel like less of a responsibility and obligation this year, but I definitely want to look back at all the books that I have requested for review and very kindly been granted, and I want to read those books. I really want to catch up. As for like channel goals, that's an interesting one. I recently hit 700 subs, which is really exciting, and I'm really grateful for every single person that has subscribed to me and watched my videos. Although, and this is kind of an across YouTube thing, it is somewhat dissatisfying when the views on a video is so much fewer than the amount of subscribers you have. And that's always been a thing on YouTube, but I think especially now, since there's this weird thing that YouTube are doing where they're not sending all videos to sub boxes. So apparently there's some sort of bell you should press so you get a notification when someone uploads. So, you know, ding my bell. My channel is a slow burner. I think I've accepted that now. While I do genuinely believe that the amount of subscribers doesn't matter, people do put a lot of effort into making videos, and I know I put a ton of effort into it. Like, I remember being in bed on like one of the days around New Year's and like I was editing for 4 or 5 hours. This time I could be spending doing so many other things. You know, for a hobby that I do for fun, it is a lot of effort. I want to get better at doing editing things. Don't really have any concrete idea of what I want to do, but I just want to improve. I want to improve the quality of my videos in the sense of I want to get a camera. My phone is okay, but I am slightly concerned about it. I drop it a lot, and the exterior is mostly okay, but I'm very concerned about the interior because sometimes my phone just crashes and it just freezes up and it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, which is an issue. And the quality is pretty good, but only in particular lighting, and so I'd like to get something that is a bit more reliable. I'd also like to get soft boxes and have a better lighting situation, but I won't be doing that until I move back to Dublin because there isn't really the space for them here in my university bedroom, and I don't want to have to transport them. I'm very aware that working with sunlight is unreliable, like unbelievably unreliable, and also just not that good even when the sun is out. I think this is okay, but some days it's just like the light is so much on my face that I glow. And not like a nice glow. And another video I might do a whole kind of chat about is getting comfortable with having a YouTube channel, because I think there's still a lot of stigma around it, and I definitely still feel the stigma. And I think one of the reasons I don't feel so involved in the community, and one of the reasons maybe I don't kind of promo my videos so much, is because I don't really talk about them on Twitter. And I don't know why. Like, there's still this weird sort of stigma around it. I think I'll do a whole other video on like my life and my personal and my professional goals, because I feel like there is enough there to warrant a whole video. And I do feel like I've already rambled on a lot about my bookish resolutions. So yeah, I know this is a bit late into the year, but these are my goals for 2017. Most of them are kind of carry-ons from 2016. And I probably will do a half-year check-in, or maybe even a quarterly one. Are any of these goals and resolutions kind of similar to what you're aiming for in 2017? Do let me know down in the comments, and if there are any kind of thoughts you have about some of the more YouTube related issues or thoughts that I have, do feel free to continue the conversation about that, because I'm just really interested in the nature of the booktube community and the YouTube community lately. Anyways, I hope you're well, and I will see you guys in my next video.